Hi, I'm your host, Russell Stevens. Welcome to Living Life on Stop Recovery Radio, brought to you by Sobriety Through Outpatient. I'd first like to say thanks and acknowledge our producer, Mr. Robert L. Washington. And I also want to acknowledge 6 studio guests today, most studio guests I've had so far. And I'll start out with our first studio guest is Mr. John Taylor. Would you like to say something, Mr. Taylor?
Yeah, my name is John Taylor. I'm a grateful recovering addict. I'm from Self-Incorporated, downtown 14th and Arch, and I'm just grateful to be here.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. My second guest I have down is Mr. Paul Wilkins.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing? My name is Paul Wilkins. I'm a grateful recovering addict. In about 40 days, I'm going to be celebrating 6 years of clean time.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, and it feels good to be here, and I'm just grateful to be here to share my story with y'all.
Okay, and our third studio guest is Mr. Ramel Brown.
Hi everyone, my name is Ramel Brown. I am a grateful recovering addict also. I'm thankful to be here today. It's just a great experience being here. Thank you.
And our next guest will be Mr. Thomas Empson.
Hi everybody, how y'all doing? My name is Thomas Empson. I'm also a grateful recovering addict, and I'm just happy to be here.
And our next guest is Mr. Paris Jones.
How y'all doing? My name is Paris Jones. I'm just grateful to be, here today. I got a year clean time off of weed, so that's it.
Okay. And our last but not least, we have Mr. Robert Timms.
Good afternoon, family. My name is Robert Timms. I'm also a grateful recovered addict. I'm glad that I'm in Stop. It's somewhere that I need to be, because when I was out there, I was really messed up. So I had 5 years clean and 5 years time clean, and I'm glad to be in the program. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to thank our panelists for acknowledging who they are and, just speaking very briefly on, why they're here. But today's topic I thought about would be, who am I? And how do I fit into the world? How do I fit into the schemes of, how do I fit into the world and of everyday life? But before we get into our panel discussion, I'd like for Mr. Paris Jones, who is a poet, to recite one of his poems for us.
Well, I'm going to start my little poem off with who am I? Who am I? Well, I'm a person in this world that just doesn't realize who I am. I'm a seed in the ground that just can't be mended. I'm surrounded by the world, still projected. I'm still going into spins and turns while I live in this world that's subjected to this ration of thought. Who am I? I'm the person that everybody dreams they could be. I'm the person that the misery comfortable with, nightmares, or even gleamed. Who am I? I couldn't tell you who I am, but I could tell you where I've been. I could tell you the places I've gone. I could tell you the people I've seen. I could tell you the religions and the places and the peoples and creeds that I've walked among. Who am I? You can give me any type of label. You can tell me about any tale. But I can tell you who I am. I'm one man that's trying not to fail.
Wow, that's pretty good. Wow, that gives me a lot of inspiration just listening to that. But I'm going to start out our little discussion about talking about, for me, who am I? I've been pretty much pondering that thought for quite a while now. I want to be perfectly honest. I'm not really sure who I am. I know that I've learned a lot of things about me because of this process. Let me backtrack a little bit. I do know one thing. I know I'm a child of the Most High. I am a child of God. That I do know. And I need to say that first and foremost, actually, But as each day goes by, I learn a little bit more about myself. And I learn about myself from other people. listening to other people, watching other people, you know, just embracing this whole recovery process, you know, going to therapy, going to groups, going to one-on-ones, just interacting with people helps me to find out who I am. I know I'm a very humble person. You know, I know that today, you know. I know that I try to be as honest with people as possible, you know, but first I have to learn to be honest with myself, you know, not pretending to be something that I'm not, you know, not, you know, falling into those things that, you know, that I used to fall into, you know. Because of this process, I realized that, you know, I never really knew who I was. I mean, I knew certain things about myself, you know, because of what I've done, you know, and how I would handle certain situations. But today I just don't handle situations like I used to, you know. I believe that I'm here for some divine purpose. I believe that I'm here for a reason. You know, this isn't just happenstance or circumstance. I'm here for a reason. I was brought here for a reason, you know, and I'm a true believer that things happen for a reason, you know. I'm still trying to find out where in this world I actually fit, you know. Like Mr. Jones had said in his poem, you know, I am a man, you know, a man who just for the day chooses not to fail, you know. I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a brother, I'm a son, I'm an uncle, you know, and I haven't been a grandfather but for so long, but I'm a grandfather too, so there are some things about me that I do know, you know. I know that I don't want to go back to where I came from. I don't want to go back and experience those things that I've experienced in the past, because with that came a lot of pain, you know. But I believe that my higher power, who I choose to call God, takes me through trials and tribulations as a sort of a teaching tool, you know, as a way of opening my eyes and waking me up, you know, allowing me to learn about myself, learn about other people, and learn about the world and the things that go on in the world and the things that the world has to offer. You know, we're coming up on a new year, 2012. You know, and a few minutes ago I heard somebody ask somebody, what is their resolution for this year? You know, and resolutions is something I never really got into in the past. Maybe here and there every, you know, whenever I put the, you know, the drink down or whatever I was doing at the time, you know, I really didn't have a whole lot of time to think about no resolution. My resolution was to take another drink, basically, you know. But if I was to choose a resolution for this year, it would be prosperity for me, you know, because I know that, you know, my higher power, who I choose to call Jesus Christ, wants me to prosper. You know, I want me to prosper. So I have to do the things necessary for me to achieve those things. You know, I heard somebody speak this morning in the group that I had about faith, you know, and they said that faith without works is dead. You have to get up and do some work. You know, you can live in that. You know, I mean, everything we know starts with a thought, you know, but if you think about it long enough, I guess that thought will sooner or later become action, which is the work that, you know, they talk about doing, you know. And I also hear people talking about you have to see yourself in your mind of where you want to go, you know. And it also talks about in the scriptures that if I do what, you know, what God wants me to do, if I follow the right path, that He will give me the desires of my heart, you know. And I firmly believe that. I believe that, you know. I have a lot of faith that those things will come to pass, but I have to do the necessary work, you know. And one of those things is giving credit to God, who has control of all things. Now, whether you choose to call your God whatever you want, Allah, Jehovah, God, whatever, you know, to me personally, it really doesn't matter, you know. But I believe that doing these things will allow me even more to get to know who I am and where I fit at into the world. But I'm just going to take a few minutes and allow our panel to share on their thoughts of who they are and how they fit into the world. Does anybody want to start first?
Yeah, I'll start. My name is Paul, and like I said before, I'm a grateful recovering addict. And who am I? Well, I'm a child of God, and that's what I was born to be. I was born with a purpose. I didn't come on this earth just to live out life and perish. And I believe that to my heart, that God had a plan for me, despite the things that I used to get into. That God had a plan for me, and all worked together for His good. Who I am, I'm better than what I used to think I am. I'm not that little child that used to run around the playground no more. I'm a man now, and being a man, I have to step up and do manly things. I have to make decisions for my life that's going to affect me for my future when it comes to the plan that God has in my life. We talked about the word resolution, right? And I know the meaning of resolution is to resolve in your mind. Is to resolve in your mind thoughts and make them effective in your heart. And when you resolve something, when you take it effect, you make changes. Now, a lot of people, they make New Year's resolutions and they don't actually end up doing what they say to resolve to do. But at the end of the day, or the resolution, it means that a person has to take whatever thought they put in their mind, and they have to put it into effect. They have to think about it, know what they want to do, and change, and want to do what they say they want to do, and not just and put it into whatever it is that they used to do. That's what I feel God has done to me. He has allowed me to resolve in my heart new things that I did not think were possible before. I choose to call my high creator God, and I do because I see the things that He has done in my life. I see how He is affecting me. I see how He is affecting people around me, how He's changing people around me, how He's bettering the community that I'm within. I love Him with all my heart, and I thank God for the things that I've seen, for the things that I've done, for the things that I've been through, for the pain that I felt during my lifetime. Because the pain that I went through, it allows me to know that there's something left for me to do. There's something that God has planned for me. He has in store for me, something down the road that I may not have knowledge of, but what I'm doing at that particular time, the pain that I'm going through, is meant for something. And God knows how to control it to make it mean something. All I have to do is, just like was in the group this morning, the brother said, you gotta take a step and God will do the rest for you. Just allow God to take a step, and God will take that thing, that whatever is going on in your life, He'll take it and make it mean something, and make it help somebody else down the road, and people will see the God in you when you allow Him to come into you. Give Him the key, open your heart, and let Him come in, and they'll see the God in you. Whatever that you may call God, whatever you may call Him, let God work in you. Let God do His work in you, and let His will take effect into your life. I'm just glad to be here. I'm just glad that it's about to be a whole new year, and that I can make resolutions in my life to make even more changes in my life, and other people can see those changes that are made in me. That's all I have to share for now.
Thanks, Paul.
That's good stuff. Hey, listen, before you move on, Russell, just do me a favor, man. Just clarify once again what your topic is. I want you, really, because you got a really good topic. And I really want you guys to really focus on what the topic is. Good sharing, right? But from knowing and getting the focus on the topic, you also have more to share on the comeback around. You understand what I'm saying to you, young fella?
Yeah.
Okay. So, just be more, help them, brothers, everybody just focus more on that topic. So just reiterate what your topic is.
Okay. Our topic that we're talking about today is, who am I? And how do I fit into the world? How do I fit into the scheme of things? And I understand that may entail quite a few things. But I just want everybody to focus in on who they are as a person and how they fit into the world. So I'm going to open up the floor again to the next person who'd like to share a little bit. Mr. Timms?
My name is Robert Timms. I want to thank my speakers, especially the brother that read the poem. Who am I? That's a hard question. Who am I? Because I know I'm someone that belongs here on this earth. I know I would choose to be here. I know I'm my mother's child. I know I'm my father's child. I'm the oldest child. But who am I? It's a hard thing to find out who am I. Because I've been raised up in this world, and sometimes it's unfaithful and it's cruel. But I'm trying to find my way to fit in the right society of this world. I know one thing, I'm here for a reason, because I went through a lot as I've been raised and brought up in this world. I've been shot. I've been stabbed. I've been through situations that a man like me shouldn't have to go through in this world of trying to find out who am I. I know I'm someone that I'm very grateful. I'm a nice, understanding, friendly person. I get along with people in this world. But as I was grown up and belong in this world, I have been through and did wrong decisions. That I know my Lord, my God, didn't he worshiped me, but it's the things that I choose to do as me coming up and growing up in the society. Where I'm going, I don't know that yet either. I know I've been through a lot. I know I've been through a lot between drinking and drugging. I've been in and out of many programs and still haven't got my life or myself together. But now I found a program that's called STOP. I finally tried to find myself through the program because the program is good and it's helping me. It helped me grow up. Not just help me grow up, but help me trying to find out who am I and what my meaning are to be here on this earth. It's hard to trying to find yourself, not just trying to find yourself, but know yourself, know where you fit at in society or life. As long as I keep my head up, my feet on the ground, and have my faith into me and the Lord and this program, I know I'll be all right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Timms. Anyone else?
My name is Ramel Brown. I'm a grateful recovering addict. And who am I? I'm a man of constant, metamorphosis. It's not a physical thing with me, it's a spiritual thing. If you asked me 10 years ago, I would have told you I was a free spirit. That free spirit led me into a lot of things. It led me to be an open person. It led me into the arts, but it also led me into my addiction. Today, I'm a man of change. I'm a man with determination. I'm a man who's willing to help his fellow man. I say metamorphosis because every day is an experience, and every time I experience something in life, it changes me. It makes me better or worse, but it changes me. I'm a man learning how to cope with my addiction. I say recovering addict because, yes, I have an addiction, but I have a will and a need to recover. So I say recovering addict. That's all I have to share.
Okay, I just want to take a moment just to identify ourselves a little bit. This is Stop Recovery Radio. The website is stop-philly.org. That's stop-phila.org. And we also have a couple of call-in numbers for people who'd like to call in and share their views. The number is 267-507-2320. I repeat, 267-507-2320. And we also have a 1-800 number as well. 1-800-660-7867, extension 136. I'm going to repeat that again. That's 1-800-660-7867, extension 136. You know, just from listening to the few people share, it just reminds me so much of what my pastor has said time after time after time. He says it at least once every time he talks. And he says that we are who we think we're not. You know, when I first heard that, I wasn't sure if I understood it or not. I had to really think about it hard. What is he saying to me? You know, you are what you think you're not. You know, and after, you know, hearing it a few times and actually listening to other people say it too, but they just said it in different words. You know, and that tells me that I can be anything that I want to be. That's partly what that tells me. You know, there isn't anything out here that I can achieve, you know, and that's part of who I am. You know, part of who I am for me is me knowing that I have a choice. You know, knowing my strengths, knowing my weaknesses, knowing what my limitations are. You know, all that plays a part in me finding out who I am, you know, and how I fit into the world. You know, for me, I'm somebody who likes to help people. You know, I've done that. You know, I mean, I'm talking about now as far as employment goes and, you know, a profession. I enjoy helping people, and I've had jobs where I've actually had to do that. And I've always enjoyed doing it, whether it's working with people with developmental disabilities or working people with mental health issues, or even being a job coach for ex-offenders getting out of jail. I've enjoyed those types of jobs where I can actually interact and work with people. So that is something that helps me to learn who I am and how I fit into the world. I believe I fit into the world. My job is to help people. It has to be. It can't be anything else because I enjoy doing that more than anything. You know, I've done volunteer work in the past, you know, within the same capacity, you know, where I didn't get paid, but I enjoyed doing it just as much, you know. So that plays a part with me as an individual in helping me to learn who I am. I mean, I know all the physical attributes and all those good things, and that's all a part of who I am too. But I'm trying to dig a little deeper, and I guess I'm saying that for myself, you know, because it's a constant learning experience, you know. I can't find out who I am in one day, 1 month, 1 year, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, 40 years. You know, I'm still finding out things about myself that I didn't really know before. So I guess in a sense, learning who I am is a lifelong process. You know, do I ever really get to the point where I completely know who I am? You know, or even how I fit into the world. You know, I mean, I've done different things other than help people. I used to drive a truck, just as an example, and I've driven pretty much across the country at one point in time, you know, from the East Coast to the West Coast, and I've met people along the way. You know, I've met some really nice people along the way. And then again, I found myself helping people. Even when I did that job, I found myself helping people. So that's a big part of who I am, you know. But again, I want to open the floor to give someone else a chance to share their views and their opinions on who they are. Does anybody have anything?
My name is John Taylor, and who I am, I feel like I'm a leader. You know, I'm not a follower. You know, I try to lead by example. You know, not just not lead foolishly. You know, I'm a man. I'm a child of God. You know, I believe in that very strongly. You know, I'm also a father. I'm not a grandfather yet. You know, I'm not as young as I look. I'm 44 years old. You know, and I'm not young, but I'm not old either. You know, I don't feel old. You know, I'm very wise. You know, have a lot of wisdom. You know, me too. I just like to help people. You know, I'm the type of person that I try to stay on a straight and narrow path. I don't look to my left or look to my right. You know, I follow God. You know, first and foremost. You know, because without Him, like, I couldn't be recovering the way I am right now if it wasn't for God. You know, it took me to be in recovery for the third time for me to understand that, you know, I need a higher power. You know, that's very important in recovery. You know, without a higher power, it's a possibility that you could just turn back around and be, you know, back to your old ways. You know, and change as well. You know, I am a man of change. You know, I thought it was hard changing, you know, but it's really not. You know, change is good. Change is for the better. You know, and it's walk in recovery. Like, we have to know that without change, you're not going to recover. Thanks for letting me share.
Thanks for the. Thank you, Mr. Taylor, for those words. What Mr. Brown, Mr. Ramel had just said about and I use that word, metamorphosis, and to me, metamorphosis means change. We talk about a spiritual change, and that's where it's at for me too, as well. You know, this process allows a spiritual change to take place. You know, along with other changes that are going on. Part of who I am is making that spiritual change. First, it's making that spiritual walk. You know, my walk with my higher power, giving credit to God, and not taking credit, not saying that I did this or I did that, or, you know, thinking that I'm in control, you know, or anything of that nature. I think I shared this morning that I might have went a little bit overboard. But I believe in certain situations, you know, that sense of power, authority is an illusion. And I only say that because God ultimately is an authority. You know, He is the one that sets the rules and sets the tone. You know, and I'm going to be held accountable. And we talked about accountability too, but I'm not really going to get into that because that's a whole nother issue. You know, but I do have to be accountable to my higher power one day. You know. Accountable to myself and accountable to God, but I have to be accountable to God first. But all that's a part of who I am. Accountability is a part of who I am. You know, we also talked about appearance, which is a part of who I am. You know, am I appearing to be something that I'm not? Am I making myself bigger than what I should be? You know, because for me, it's real easy to slip back into those old habits and ways and behaviors and going back to that fantasy land or something, you know, and it's real easy to do that, you know. So part of who I am is just trying to be who I am a day at a time, you know, how I feel when I get up in the morning, you know. I'm not intimidated by anybody. That's a part of who I am, you know, because I would have to give somebody permission to intimidate me. That's my decision. It's not theirs. They can try to intimidate me from now to doomsday. Ain't worth a hill of beans unless I allow it, you know, and that's something that I refuse to allow to happen, so it just doesn't happen. You know, but all those things are a part of who I am, and it makes me the person that I am, and I'm in a constant metamorphosis. It's a constant change that's constantly going on for me, you know. But I want to turn it over to somebody else who probably hasn't shared that might want to speak on it a little bit. Mr. Empson?
Yes. How y'all doing? My name is Thomas Empson. I'm a grateful recovering addict. I have 67 days clean now, and
Congratulations.
for me, recovery is a blessing, man. Because I mean, I was brought up in the church. I was raised as a Catholic, but then I changed to a Baptist. But I mean, the label of Christianity really isn't as relevant as just I was always in church, and what really led me to just being in the streets and being addicted and then abusing drugs was really lack of faith and God, and just not having a strong enough will of myself. You know, sometimes there was times where I could have spoke on a lesson in the Bible to maybe as a testimony to someone that I could have helped, and as opposed to helping or maybe just shedding some light to somebody, I just kept silent. And for me, it's not a good feeling, you know, to have information or even, you know, to be here and act like God isn't real. I mean, and that's pretty much what I was doing when I was running the streets in my addiction. It was running around acting like, I mean, the drug was the most important thing in my life. And nowadays, it's not like that. It is not. I'm not here trying to win anybody over or anything, but there's more to life than just a chemical balance or imbalance that you feel is good for you or bad for you. But for me, it's about just staying clean and, you know, trying to stay on the right path. But the most important thing is staying in church and just putting God first, doing His work. So I'm just happy to be here. I'm actually in Joshua Achievement Center now. I'm doing all right, and my focus is on recovery, just staying mentally healthy and as physically fit as possible, and just enjoying every day, you know, learning a new Bible verse and just studying. Thanks for letting me share.
Thanks for sharing. But I have a question for you, Mr. Empson. I usually don't ask questions to people directly. In fact, this might be my first one. Mm-hmm. But my question is to you, and I want you to answer me as directly as you possibly can. Who are you? Who do you think you are? Or who do you want to be? I hear you talking about the things that are going on, mm-hmm. but I'm talking more about you, the person. Who are you?
Me,
it's okay if you're unsure. It's all right.
I just see myself as your average man who has made some mistakes and is willing to accept his mistakes and failures and looking at them and learning from them as a lesson and experience, basically. I mean, I don't feel like there's anything different from me than the next man, but at the same time, I'm a human being who accepts God in his life, and at the same time, I've made some mistakes which have humbled me, but at the same time, I understand I fell because of not, like I said before, just putting God first and walking in my faith, as opposed to what I think is important and what I feel is important in life. So I'm just trying to stay faithful and hopefully I'll live a long life, a long blessed life.
Okay. I remember when I first started seeing you, you know, to me you are a very humble spirit. There was nothing arrogant about you at all, you know, which I thought was a good thing. You know, there was nothing that jumped out at me that was negative or to the left or anything bad or anything about you. You appeared to be a very humble spirit, and in the time that you've been there that I've been seeing you, you come across as being that way because you seem the same way all the time. You know, you don't seem to fluctuate from day to day like some of us might do, you know. You know, it seems to me like you don't wake up with a bad day. And if you do, you don't show it. As far as I'm going, because I kind of feel like that myself some days. You know, I mean, being the cook in a house with 10, 12 people, I tend to get a little irritated sometimes, and I have to be honest about it, because I'll get bombarded with a lot of different things. But I think that's just a part of who I am. You know, it's just being human, but it is a part of who I am. But for the most part, for me, I wake up pretty much the same person every day. I very rarely get an attitude or snap out at somebody or anything because it's just not in me really to be that way, And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that I try to stay focused, which is a part of who I am right now. Focus is a big part of who I am because I need to get through what I'm going through right now, being where I'm at, like I said, life is kind of like a highway. You meet people and you go through different situations along the way, But all those things and how I deal with them tells me a lot about who I am. I have a lot of patience, and that's a part of who I am. I've always had patience. I don't think I've ever had patience like I have patience today. Because I can think of times where my patience span would come and go just like that. But it's just not in my heart anymore, So there we go with that metamorphosis, that spiritual change that takes place, as Mr. Brown talked about, But change is a part of who I am right now, I'm not saying that I can put a definite time limit on it as like one day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to know who I am. Well, I don't think that'll ever happen in that sense, because things constantly change, people change. Nothing, I think it was a song by Quincy Jones made a long time ago called "Everything Must Change." I've always believed that everything must change. People will change too. Nothing stays the same, and I've always believed that. And sometimes that song plays in my head. It's called "Everything Must Change." The seasons change, the climate changes, the earth changes. Everything changes. But as far as I'm going, as far as I'm concerned, it's all a part of who I am. And I didn't come up with that topic until maybe. I was pondering it around for most of the late part of the morning because I was unsure which way, we were going to talk about this morning. But I thought that would be a good topic to talk about is who am I? And I kind of find out it's not as easy as I think somebody just mentioned a little while ago. Sometimes it really takes some thought, when we talk about the 12 steps and they talk about that fearless moral inventory of ourselves will let us know who we are. But it'll also let us know the changes that we need to make for who we are, for ourselves to become better people, to be able to live life, better, and I'm okay with that, just for the day, I'm in a good space. Well, I'm in a good space every day, like I said, I very rarely get angry or get besides myself. There may be times where I feel it, but I don't allow it to consume me. That's a part of who I am too. Because I feel those very same feelings everybody else feels. It's not like I'm feelingless or don't have feelings or, emotions. Oh, I got them big time. But part of who I am will refuse to allow those emotions, especially the one of anger, to consume me, because I've learned that when you get angry, somebody else is in control. I'm no longer in control. I want to be in control. I want my God to be in control. I won't let no man control me. I won't let no woman control me either. I am responsible for my behavior. I am responsible for how I deal with situations and deal with people, and for me, I just want to be the best person that I can be, and again, that's part of who I am, and ultimately, I guess that's where I fit out into the world, and that's a good thing for me, but does anybody else want to share a little bit on who they are and how they fit into this world?
I just want to say that I'm not going to let nothing or nobody change who I am, because I'm a recovering addict, and I'm a spiritual being, and I'm in this world for a reason, and whatever's whatever happens to me, I can't let nothing change that fact. Because I fit into this world for me. I'm here for me. I'm not here just to be here. Whatever happens, I can't let nothing change who I am. I mean, if I let someone come to me and change that, then I'm not strong enough to be me. I gotta continue to walk forward, not backwards. I used to walk backwards. I used to not know who I was. I used to not allow God to be in my life and be who He made me to be. But it's important now that I've come consciously aware of who I am, to continue to recover, continue to take every day, one day at a time, and recover from that day that I put the drug down.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Wilkins. Well, gentlemen, we're getting at, I think we're at the hour.
Yeah, I got a little something real quick.
Okay,
You
Mr.
know,
Washington.
usually, man, I just usually sit back. Because this subject here, man, is a subject that this is why I ask you to do a little more expounding on this particular and give a little more clarity. I'm not saying that we all have our different perspectives on what changes we need and things of that nature. I think we always have to realize that we're part of a process where it's important that we change. And because you got to understand that the individuals that we had become, and it doesn't matter. A lot of you guys know I'm a minister, but still I'm in recovery. All right, I understand the spiritual significance, right? And guess what? For you guys who are I'm not going to spiritual, because I don't usually really use the term religious, because I'm a spiritual individual. Religion is man's way to God. I'm not for that. God has been reaching out to people to communicate on His terms. So I'm just a firm believer in submitting to His terms. Because I find that when you covenant with Him under His terms, you get what you really need without your stuff, right? So saying that, change is not easy. Because what took a lifetime, a place to get, it took a lifetime to get there. And those things don't change overnight. And when we talk about some real good, solid change in the life of a person who wants to experience the freedom, not from drugs and alcohol, but from behavior, from thought impulses, right? From your own, some people call it demons, right? Because people have a tendency always want to externalize and put stuff. Look, so what causes us to get better is to realize and recognize, guess what? The issue ain't outside of me. The problem ain't outside of me. The problem is who?
Me.
That's
It's me.
right.
So seeing that the problem is me, I need to change, and I need to be working on change every day. Without a shadow of a doubt, I do the best I can. And I'm speaking for us. I do the best I can that I don't let things move me in a direction that is not consistent to a healthy recovery process. It's important to make decisions like that, right?
Yes,
Because the moment that I minimize and say this is not that serious, or that's not that bad, or everybody else does this, you understand what I'm saying? So what we want to do as come to understand that, just like, how many of you guys got a prayer life? Nobody here got prayer life?
Yeah, we all got prayer life.
Okay, see, the only way I can know is we ask my question,
Yes,
right?
we do.
So this is what you have to ask yourself. Not that I'm trying to get an answer out of this, but you got 24 hours in a day. Out of those 24 hours of the day, how much time do you devote to speaking with your higher power? It's just something that, I was challenged. Some things I had to be challenged in. I've seen growth in ministry in myself because of my prayer life, The Power of 1 Hour. It's a book by this minister, man. It's an awesome book. And but I had to realize that the only way that I can reach potential
because I find that every day there's a different level of potential that I can reach. So what I do? I set short-term and long-term goals, realistic ones. Sometimes I set some above that bar. Why? Because the faith is not in myself or what I believe my higher power can do in me. All right? For you guys who are in the Word, because that's my thing. Ephesians 3:20-21 says, "Now unto him that is able to do exceeding abundantly above all you think or ask, according to what? The power that worketh in you." That's talking about Holy Ghost power. Make some change. So that's my thing. The Bible's my thing, but you guys, I don't preach. That's because I'm not paid to preach here. I do that on the street, and I do that in my church. I do that in my home with my grandchildren. Right? And the best preaching is done without words. It's through lifestyle. And so the only way a person can get that way is that I have to be receptive. I have to be receptive to truth, especially the truth that says I have to diligently make change in my own life. I got that acronym that's in NA, right? Because whatever it is, no matter where it comes from, you got to let it work for you. The HOW acronym, right? H, which can stand for what? Can stand for humility and honesty. Being honest with myself about me, transparent to myself. I'm tired of stop. I'm not going to lie to myself, be deluded about anything about me, right? I'm going to see me for who I am today, right? Tell myself the truth. You know what I mean? Where I am and where I know I'm not, right? And so, in which that takes some humility, some honesty, and then with the O, open-mindedness. Right. So when I hear stuff, I ain't going to shut down, and just because I don't like how it sounds. Matter of fact, because I don't even like the dude that said it. You know how, right? Yeah. So what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to shut down, but I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it in, because guess what? Within my 7 times relapsing before getting it right, 7, 8 times of relapse before getting it right in '99, I used to hear that phrase: "If it don't apply, let it fly." Listen to the message and not the messenger. I found out that there's more to it than "if it don't apply, let it fly." I'm going to put it in my back pocket, because if it don't apply to me today, I may can use it for a rainy day. Right? And so, because more shall be revealed to you about you as you continue in the process. We're learning so much about ourselves on a daily basis. There's some things we got yet, and some mornings we're going to surprise ourselves. Some days we're going to surprise ourselves at some thought processes that we still want to have, right? In recovery, in the church. Look, some beautiful women in my, I'm going to give it back to you with this. Some beautiful women in my church, man. You know what I mean? I'm a tenor, so we kind of like stand in the back of all the, man, look. Some of them nicely built. See, but this the man in good. Let me tell you something. Don't ever get so caught up in spirituality that you lose sight of your humanity. Because I had to realize Jesus was a man, and I needed to identify with the man, all right, who was tempted, as Hebrews talks about. He was tempted in all points as I am, but he didn't sin. But I ain't Jesus. All right, I believe in the impeccability of Christ. For you, those of you who understand that, I believe that he was born without a sin nature. There was nothing inside of him that desired to sin. There was nothing that could pull on him to draw him in the direction contrary to the will of God. Because even when he was in the garden, he said, if possible, because I see what I'm getting ready. Oh, I've seen before I came what I was going to have to experience, right, at the cross, at Calvary. But he said, nevertheless, he said, if possible, if we can do this some other way, but nevertheless, not my will, yours be done. All right, and that's what we do in the process of recovery. There's some things that we're going to find ourselves, how I make that fit. There's some things we're going to find ourselves wanting to do. Not just picking up a drug, not just using and abusing substances, but we're talking about behavior. And we're going to find ourselves, and we have to learn to make some good choices. And that's our blessing, being in recovery. We can make a choice because we're not being led by that compulsive, obsessive behavior, right? When you're caught up in that disease, an active, full-blown addiction. You know, so today we can make some decisions to change for the better. So what we do, because we stopped at open-mindedness, and then we talk about the W, H-O-W, the W which stands for what we're talking about, being willing to take those suggestions, apply them, being willing to do some things that I don't want to do, being willing to try to learn some new practices, right, to change my old ideals and attitude, being in control. In my church, we got a church that say we choose, make a choice to rejoice. I was telling somebody this morning, be careful, because you're going to set the tone for how the rest of your day go. And you got to believe stuff like that. Even though stuff going to come my way, the day going to be a good day.
All right.
And everything may not go the way that I planned it to go. But the day is going to be a good day. Why? Because today I'm alive. Today I got another chance at life. Now, if you're anything like me, I'm about self-disclosure. So in spite of the way a lot of people see me dressed on a given day, I'm not the man that walks down the street smelling his feet through boots in the summertime without bending over. I'm no longer the man that falls asleep in abandoned buildings and come to find out that I fell asleep in some either dog, cat, or human feces and urine. I ain't that dude. I'm not the one that jumping over the Kentucky Fried Chicken gate, tearing their trash. They put a lock on it because they tired of me tearing their trash up. Being reduced to animalistic instinct, smelling the food, because I can't see it, so I'm smelling the food to see whether it's good enough for me to eat or not. You understand? So by today, I don't have to go in that direction. Today, I can make some choices for myself. You know what I mean? I've experienced that. And look, and so we get to a place that you know what? I deserve better.
Right.
And it's not arrogant. It's coming to a certain level of understanding of what? My significance and my importance on this earth. And because of that, I pridefully do some things to maximize my potential to become all I can be to myself and to who? Other people. Because that's who it's all about. Other people.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to give you that piece because, we don't want to get stuck somewhere. Because I keep it to a place where I always realize I have to do work. I have not arrived, no matter how much time I get clean, however I progress, man, either even politically, whatever. You know what I mean? Economically, whatever status my status quo may become or whatever. I always got to live my life in such a way, even though I'm a minister, right, in a church where people listen to me. You know what I mean? And even though, you know what, I always realize that I have a disease. And I refuse to let people spread a net before me with compliments. In Proverbs, it talks about got to be. People do it. They don't. Why it becomes a net? Because you don't really. It's how you receive it, and how you see what's being said to you. And when people give me, the accolades, you know what I give it back? All back up to God. Because it's only by the grace of God. Brother Rame, beautiful voice. I've been trying to help. There's so much that I see that's inside you. We've been pushing that voice. I mean, he's going to be getting hoarse and all that. Sometimes Ramel will walk around and not being able to talk. Know why? Because he's going to push the voice because that's what's inside of him. Okay. And see, that's an example of what this process is about. Pushing you to your limit. You say, oh, I can't take no more. I done did all. No, you can do more. Many of us, when we was out there, I just told you about my story a little bit. The stuff that we put ourselves through, the stuff that we've been through out there, and the stuff that we survived, it's time for us to put the pedal to the metal and bring about some real serious, galvanize our potential for change, doing everything you can to show you can become all you can be. Yeah, the benefit is you will experience the benefit of that, but guess what? So many other people will. And that's the real reward. When you see other people's lives being impacted because of being affected and impacted on a positive note, considering where you come from, oh man, that's it. When you wake up, when you lie down on your bed and look over your life that day and see what you've done and what you've accomplished, thank you, man, in your own personal life to help reach somebody else. That's the direction, you guys. I'm speaking that over your life. That's the direction. That's why you're here today. You were chosen. You guys were chosen to be a part of this show today, just for that particular message that was placed in your mouth. All right, and you got to see it like that. Ain't no coincidences, and you got to see the reason behind it. So once, like I always in groups and stuff like that, man, I say, fly, eagle, fly, soar above the skies and be clouds and be all you can be. Never stop dreaming. You know what I mean? Don't put yourself, man, don't domesticate the Spirit of God. If you're a Christian, don't domesticate. I'm not hating on anybody else. I can only speak about what I'm a part of. But if you don't domesticate the Spirit of God, but believe that God can do whatever He wants to with your life.
Amen.
Trust Him. And let it be done. Just be receptive. You know, be receptive to what He's trying to tell you. Be receptive to what you're doing for you, with your own individual gifting, talents, and abilities. Man, some of you guys gonna find out you got some stuff working in you, man, to help you to make it in this world. The devil's a liar. Just because, even if you like me, got a jacket longer than a block, man, don't you believe that that's gonna keep you down. See, a door is going to open. Why? Because you got to learn how to open it for yourself.
That's right.
And the best way to do it is say, you know what? I'm going to change. I'm going to change. I'm going to do all I can to change for the better. All right, so be encouraged. Go ahead, Russ, man. Thanks for letting me talk, man.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. I'd like to thank Mr. Washington for those inspiring words. Okay, well, we're down to the end here, so I'd like to thank Mr. Washington, our producer. I'd also like to thank Sobriety Through Outpatient for allowing us to have this opportunity. Today's subject was, who are you? And where do you fit at in this world? You've been listening to Living Life, brought to you by Sobriety Through Outpatient. And I'd like to acknowledge our studio guests for showing up and sharing their opinions and their views. Mr. John Taylor, Mr. Paul Wilkins, Mr. Ramel Brown, Mr. Thomas Empson, Mr. Paris Jones, and Mr. Robert Timms. And I'm your studio guest, Russell Stevens, and I want to tell everybody out there to have a great day.
Happy New Year.